You'll die protecting him. A walker you didn't spot. A bullet you couldn't dodge. A desperate cry for help that brings the herd. It happened to Lee, and it'll happen to you.
Don't ever say his name.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are 11 days away from The Walking Dead final season's 4th and final episode, Take Us Back, the last episode of Clementine's journey. And I'm going to update you guys right now on what I'm going to be doing before I start the video. Today's topic will be about what I think the episode 4 flashback, or what, if there's going to be more than one flashback, what they will be. So, really quickly guys, tomorrow, Saturday, the 16th, will be my final discussion stream talking about The Walking Dead final season and its 4th episode. Then Sunday, finally going to be starting my marathon. We are going to be playing seasons 1 through 4 through the 17th of March all the way up until the 25th. I will be playing seasons 1 through 4 up until episode 3. That will include The Walking Dead Michonne as well as the 400 Days DLC in season 1. So I can't wait to do those. Also this Sunday, if you guys did not check out my community post, I'm going to be updating my channel, giving you guys what my plans are to be after The Walking Dead ends. I'll also do one more after The Walking Dead officially ends, probably a week or two after. But it seems like you guys want to see The Last of Us. And definitely go leave your votes down below in that poll. But so far, that's the inclination I'm getting. So, let me know what you guys think. We'll talk about more of this stuff on Sunday, though. So, episode 4's flashback. Let's get straight into it. So firstly, let's talk about the flashback scenario. It's something that has happened already twice in the final season. We had episode 2's McCarroll Ranch little hint flashback dream. Episode 3, we had a little flashback with Lee, dream, however you want to call it. Episode 4, it is very hinted that we are going to get some kind of flashback, since again, it is the final episode of this journey. And there's a couple possibilities. Let's talk about first the possibilities, then I'll give you guys what I think is going to happen. So the first possibility is Lee. Lee again. Lee dream sequence. It could be on the train. It could be some kind of afterlife heaven thing. It could be at Clementine's house. I think any one of these three is possible, but I think ever since Lee said this statement...
Come see me again when you've gotten them out, okay? Out and safe. Sound good? And hopefully we can talk about happier things, if you know of any.
That statement pretty much confirmed almost 100% in my opinion that we're going to get another Lee flashback, dream, whatever you want to call it, in episode 4. Come see me again when you've gotten them out and safe. The out and safe part gives me inclination that this will be right near the end of the episode, because we know the first 30 minutes to an hour of episode 4, maybe an hour 3, will be getting everyone back to the boarding school safely, because that is the goal of episode 4, is to get everyone away from this Delta boat, Lily's remnants of her group, get everyone back home safe, away from the danger, and then we maybe have one final scene with Clementine and Lee, a final goodbye. And it all depends if Clementine's going to get bitten. Is she going to get hurt? Is she going to be okay? Is it going to be like a peaceful final goodbye? Is it going to be a heaven kind of, Clementine and Lee meeting each other again? Like, but this time it isn't like a dream. Or, anything's possible. It all depends on Clementine's fate and the situation that pops up. But, again, it is very likely this first flashback couldn't happen. Let's talk about our next scenario. So this is the most likely one. Despite how I just talked about how that Lee one is so likely, this one's even more likely to happen because the McCarroll Ranch, it's such an important factor in between the time gaps of season 3 and 4, and it's already been it's kind of gotten a hint in episode 2 with that, mini kind of dream flashback. It was only really, really short, and then we also had that scene in episode 1 where AJ mentioned the blood at the ranch. And we also had the scene in episode 3 where Lee had talked about, how you charged in that McCarroll Ranch alone. And you got out of that, didn't you? And it gives me the inclination that Clementine had hit her head at the end of episode 3, meaning she is knocked out. There's no way There's no way she is going to be like up and at him after getting, especially after the fact that she's gotten beaten the hell out of by Lily, and then she got her head slammed against, the boat there. So I think episode 4 is going to start with a McCarroll Ranch flashback. There's already been, kind of like that old model scene that showed Clementine in her red jacket. And there was also that E3 footage where Clementine was in her red jacket. It gives me the inclination that they saved up Red Jacket Clem for this scene. We're finally going to see Red Jacket Clem in this 10, 15, 5, 10 minute flashback. And I think it's going to explain how Clementine got into the ranch, how she got AJ out, what necessarily happened at the ranch, and why Clementine and AJ are traumatized by it. AJ has some obvious issues with it, but Clementine's having nightmares about it, so something really bad must have happened. And there's no doubt we'll get an explanation of that in the flashback in episode 4. But if there's not a flashback, then good luck explaining this with dialogue, because I think a flashback's perfect. An even more likely possibility is Clementine with her family / old returning characters. A kind of a heaven send-off to her. A flashback, dream, after credit, however you want to say it, a final goodbye to Clementine. Maybe we have Kenny, Clementine's mother and father, Duck, maybe even some other characters that have, met their demise. Omid. We could have a lot of old returning characters in this, and it would kind of just be an emotional semi. And this is only, I think, is going to happen if Clementine dies. If maybe they just have one definitive ending where Clementine dies. And it's kind of just like, another, we're going to probably cry our eye sockets out moment. And we won't be ready for it. There's no way I would ever be ready for a final goodbye scene. Clementine and AJ maybe together going up to some kind of like goodbye scene, because they both die. And you see Lee, you see Kenny, you see Rebecca, Alvin, old characters that have made an impact in both Clementine and AJ's lives. And you see a final goodbye. Now, that's kind of like hunky-dory. A lot of people don't think that's possible, but it's possible. So, let's talk about what I think is going to happen now. So, with all my initial predictions out of the way of what I think they could be, let me talk about how this is going to play out. I think there's going to be 2 flashbacks in Take Us Back. The first one is going to be in the beginning. It's going to be the McCarroll Ranch flashback. I think that's going to cover the first 10. I'd like it to be 10, 15 minutes plus, but again, I don't want another, 2-3 minute ranch flashback. I think this is one of the biggest mysteries between season 3 and 4, and I think they need a 10 to 15 minute flashback to cover it and give it some in-depth detail. I want to know why Clementine is having nightmares about it, why AJ seems a little traumatized by it, why AJ was crying, why there's fire, why there's dead horses, who's attacking the ranch. Is it a walker attack? Are the people at the ranch bad? Or maybe it was Lily's Delta that was around. I'd love to know this. And then my final flashback will be right near the end of the episode. It'll be a Lee and Clementine one, a final goodbye, and I think it'll be at Clementine's home. I talked about this in the last video, why I think Clementine could be returning home in a potential flashback or scene in episode 4, and I think it's a perfect moment. The full circle movement. If Clementine dies at the end, AJ, sure, maybe there's a final, flashback, final goodbye scene right as she dies of her being, at her old house, or maybe even still on the train. And I think it would be completely, an emotional moment. And I think it would finish off the series on a, bittersweet note, but it would be perfect. So, that has been it for my predictions on this flashback. I may talk about Lee potentially by himself, like just Lee alone, in another video. If you guys want me to do that, make sure to leave down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of the flashbacks that are going to be in episode 4. Do you think there's going to be 1, 2, none? And what do you think they're going to be? So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you do me a favor by smacking a like, hitting that sub, and make sure you guys come into our discussion streams. And my last discussion stream tomorrow, as well as my marathon will be starting on Sunday. Make sure to keep an eye out Sunday also for my channel update video where I'll be talking about the future of this channel after the final season ends. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace and love.